Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. The book Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, was followed by Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, followed by Raised by These Wolves, How Family and Federal Courts Are Failing Our Children, and the newly released Raised by These Wolves 2, Child Trafficking Through the Foster Care and Court Systems, came out on July 19th as a bestseller. And feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. You can find that in the podcast notes. And I'm very happy to have Amy Palacios back on my podcast. She was last on season 3, episodes 147, 165, and 179. Season 4, episodes 134, 145, and 150, which also featured Sabrina Berry. And season 5, episodes 22, 70, 73, and 83. And I welcome you, Amy Palacios. We're talking about the issue with Sabrina Berry, and she needs to be free. I welcome you to the
Yes.
podcast.
Yes, we are coming on now to raise awareness. We need to free Sabrina Berry. She's currently been put in jail by Judge Gary Henderson in Mecklenburg, North Carolina, claiming she's in contempt of court. Her her child's father, they weren't married, after filing for child support, has done a series of things to her, repetitively calling DSS, ex parte orders, kidnapping the child, then they gave the child back, claiming she's in contempt of court in a custody order that they've had since the child was 5 months old. But he's never followed the custody order. He never ever even wanted the child. Even this week, after putting her in jail, the family tried to take the child to him. The son, that's a police officer, her older son is a police officer, tried to take the child to him, and he never showed up to get her because he has to work. He's a truck driver. He has to drive his truck. So y'all just keep her until court this Tuesday. They're trying to have court this Tuesday. I don't know if he's popping up an emergency kidnapping, another ex parte emergency kidnapping, because she's still in jail, which is what they've tried to do in the past. Gary Henderson is he's been father's rights judge for over 15 years. I have been in courtrooms where he was there, even with Amy Betts's older 2 children, gave full custody to her ex-husband that also had nothing to do with the children, was off having affairs. They had a bar, he was drinking, partying, dismissed, like just going off for like missing for weeks at a time. And she was in like some kind of military thing, but it wasn't like she had to be deployed. It was like a weekend thing, service or anything. So he was like, that was the reasoning. Oh, you're in the military, you could have to go at any time. So we're just going to give the kids to him. And, 15 years later, they're aged out. But I'm just appalled at court this week. Last Tuesday, Sabrina Berry was put in jail for a total, I think it's 11 or 12 days for contempt of court, claiming that she didn't give him the child for like a Christmas or Thanksgiving, or it was, years ago. And even I have gone with her to exchanges many, many, many times, video recorded the whole exchange where he doesn't show up. Repetitively does not show up, but he then decides he wants the child like a day later in a text message. Oh, I can get her now. Well, her family doesn't live in this area. So if she's going to spend time at the holidays with her family, they all live in Virginia. If he didn't show up 24 hours ago, then she should go be with her family.
Right.
How does she know that just this one time he's going to call 24 hours later and say, oh, I'm done with my truck driving now, you can bring her to me? She's supposed to sit at home and not have a family time. She's not supposed to, she's
Right.
just supposed to wait for him. And when he does have her, he would have her for like 2 hours and then call her to come get her back.
I'm really shocked because Judge Gary Henderson should have the common sense to see this. And to hold someone in contempt of court for issues that happened years ago is a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
And putting her in jail for 12 days without bond. And this was all punishment just because she started to ask for child support. We're seeing this repetitive behavior.
Mhm.
Sabrina Berry on Tuesday, and then with Courtney Banks on Thursday in front of the same judge, Judge Henderson in Mecklenburg County. She has a 15-year-old daughter that has never lived with her father, and the father now lives in Georgia. And the girl even testified to the judge that she didn't want to go and was not happy. And he sent a child off to be with the father that's 15 years old and has never lived with the father. She needs to pull up her grades. The crazy thing is, the back side of this is the man he owed what was it?
11,000.
$11,000 in child support. He owed $11,000 in child support. But he testified in court that he paid $9,500 or $400 and something. It was like almost $9,500. So $9,500 in lawyer fees to get the child back, but he didn't pay the child support. So to get these men out of paying child support, they're giving the children to the men, and then making the women pay the men. And if the women don't pay the men, it's a repetitive story. We're going to jail.
Been there,
You
done that.
went to jail, Marianne.
Right.
I've never gone to jail for not paying child support, but I've been taken to court for not paying my ex-husband, and we have joint custody child support, the $2,800 a month, like repetitively over and over and over and over again, and I've never missed a payment.
And none of this should be happening to you at all either. And they shouldn't be weaponizing CPS for false allegations to make a parent lose their job so they can't pay child support. Because there are some good fathers out there. They are out there. They're few and far between, because I have my good dads on here too, that really want to see their kids and care about their kids and are suffering as well. But this is now the shift. It seems like for 40 years, the judges went after the fathers for the child support. I agree with that. But now there's been a shift. And the shift is now they are going after the mothers for the child support, taking the kids away. And the judiciary really is what they're doing is they are actually destroying this country from the inside out.
Right, exactly. And see, Sabrina, she had all that stuff. I sat in court when he made all these false allegations. He made false allegations that she was sexually abusing her 5-year-old. He said that. He said all kinds of horrible, disgusting things. And she put him in contempt of court for perjury. They proved that he was lying. She did a counterclaim for contempt of court, that he was in contempt of court for lying. He was in contempt of court for perjury, essentially, is lying. And some other things that he didn't do. And they never heard his side of the contempt, her ex's side of the contempt. They didn't hear his side of the contempt. They only heard her side. Then they're like, put her in jail. Now Tuesday, they want to come back and hear some more contempt for her, but still haven't heard his contempt. And he wouldn't even take the child when she went to jail. He would not take the child. He would not come get the child from her son, that's a older son that's a police officer, met to come get the child. He wouldn't come get her. Has literally been calling her mother and doing all these other things and saying, oh, well, y'all can just keep her until court on Tuesday, where he's going to then try to get an ex parte order and probably say that they're keeping him from her,
Oh, oh yeah,
keeping her from him. I said,
typical.
keep every text message, record every conversation with him, because he's gonna lie and then say you didn't show up, because I repetitively went with her. Even recently, this last thing, and he didn't show up. Like the next thing they're gonna try to put her in contempt for. I went with her to the QT. He didn't show up. But then he's trying to say that she's in contempt of court for not giving her back. You can't just show up when you want to show up.
Right. And this is what Judge Gary Henderson and other judges need to be aware of. Follow the pattern of what these fellows are doing. And apparently he wants to take her rights on Tuesday. Is that what?
No, he just trying to she doesn't have they haven't presented that from the court or anything. But he's already tried to do one ex parte order, right? He
Mhm.
already tried to put her in jail and they didn't put her in jail. And then one time, and then he did an ex parte order, kept her, then we went to court, he got her back, she got her back. But if she's in jail right now, he can do another ex parte order. That's what he keeps doing. It's a pattern of behavior. He's been doing the same thing over and over again. He should get felony charges or misdemeanor charges for I think perjury is even a felony charge. He
Mhm.
is continually lying to create these orders, continually lying to get these made up orders and go in front of these judges.
I know some of my dads, we're scared to be put in jail because they know they would miss the next court date, and that's how they would get their kids and their 50-50 taken away from them. And
That it was intentional. It's
intentional.
intentional.
Yes.
It's a move of the court to constantly keep. And I see my exes repetitively threaten me, and it was only God and your shows that I came out and I said these kinds of things and told exactly what their plans were before it does it, because the narcissist reveals their plans and plots and schemes right before they do it to you. So
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to do today. I'm trying to reveal this narcissist plans and plots and schemes on Sabrina Berry right now, and we command in Jesus' name that everything done in darkness comes to light. We command justice right now. We command confusion in the enemy's camp. We command confusion in the enemy's camp, and we would command this jail sentence to end, be reversed on him. He's the one that actually is in contempt. And
Mhm.
for every kidnapping to stop. My ex-husband kidnapped my kids through Mecklenburg County. I mean, repetitively. I think it was like 5 times, because it's been 2 more times in Cabarrus County, so 7 times total. Repetitively. They give them back to me, he'd do it again. They give them back to me, he'd do it again. And this was repetitive. I told you, literally, a baby had a seizure in the hallway. And
Oh,
that's what I
yep.
did. ER and ICU for 20 years. I revived the baby in the hallway. And it just
Mhm.
happened to be that an officer was out there, like a sheriff. And he came into the courtroom like I was about to have court. He came into the courtroom while they're saying all this stuff about me again. Like she's horrible. She can't, whatever they're making up about me. All the lame excuses of why they're trying to claim that they can kidnap my kids. And he asked to speak to the judge, and he went up and told the judge, I guess, everything that had just happened in the hallway, right? Literally, the judge comes back in, and this was Gina Kohler. She came back into the courtroom and she was beet red. Like, I've never seen anyone so red before in my life. And she just starts screaming the verdict right then, like
Mhm.
giving us 50-50, telling him that he can never never take out an ex parte order again. He doesn't want to, doesn't want to ever hear that he thinks that I'm crazy. Like, just on and on and on and
Awesome.
on and on, all in my favor. Just because I just saved some kid's life in the hallway, but you want to say that I can't take care of my own?
Typical.
How does that even make any sense?
Nurses. I was a nurse for 23 years, and suddenly I'm crazy overnight. I would have lost my job years ago if I was crazy.
Yeah.
These judges buy it, see it. I know they thought there was going to be money to be made. I know the states are getting billions of dollars off of this Title 4D. This all has to stop because it's all weaponized.
Well, we definitely need everyone to file judicial complaints on Gary Henderson, Gary Henderson on the behalf of both Sabrina Berry, and Courtney with a K, Courtney Banks. Both of those mothers have been victimized to him and his father's rights movement this week. We command right now in Jesus' name that justice be served. He's supposed to be off the bench. They moved him to Superior Court, but he's just still coming back down to do some injustices on the side.
Oh, is that double dipping?
Yeah,
Like when they retire a judge and they're getting their pension, but then they call them back to run a case and then they pay them for that. That's double dipping off the taxpayer dollars.
sounds like it.
You know what? So the family still has her child. How old is her child? I mean, we can't say her name, but how
Her
old?
child is 5. She's
Oh,
5. Um, she's 5. I mean, she has older children, like her son's older, like in his 20s,
hmm
that was trying to help like exchange her back to the father this week.
hmm
I mean, and it's just, and the father's name is Kevin, but I don't know what his last name is, but I mean, this father, Kevin, has 1,000-page rap record, 1,000 pages,
Oh,
1,000 pages. And it's already in the court file from the Cabarrus County because he keeps calling DSS and trying to do all this stuff to her. Well, Cabarrus County went and got his criminal record, and he's done all this time, and he's like been a criminal since a child, and they're believing this guy. Like, I honestly think he needs a mental health evaluation. He needs some sort of mental health because I sat there and watched him after he made up all those lies. He made up all those lies and called DSS and did all this stuff. She had him on FaceTime just like this next to me. We're going to the exchange because she didn't need to be in the exchange together. He's apologizing to her in front of the child. Like, oh, I'm sorry what I did to your mother. I'm sorry. Like,
oh, oh.
totally two-faced, totally narcissist. And she's like, Amy, he's never even let me talk to her on the phone for more than 2 seconds in his house. And we're literally walking around FaceTiming for him to because he was like 20 minutes late to show up to the exchange or whatever, for him to let us know he's coming. She's like, I haven't even gotten this much time whenever he's gone with her over all the times that he's ever been in his care total of this amount of time walking around on FaceTime. And he just testified that she's this horrible mother that attacked her child or kicked her child in the stomach or something, and then and also said she was sexually abusing her 5-year-old. The mother was sexually abusing the 5-year-old. I mean, explicitly said stuff and claimed that he knew that she was doing those things to her because he saw his daughter doing those same things to a baby doll.
Oh.
I mean, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. It was Everyone in the room was appalled. There was 30 people in the courtroom, and it was, are you serious? We're still coming back here. We're still trying to put her in jail. You're still trying to kidnap this child to go off to this man that we already proved was a liar. And he has an open contempt charge for perjury, which is a criminal charge. And probably is supposed to be heard in Superior Court, not District Court.
And this is how much control these judges have. This abuse of discretion. I am so sorry this is happening to Sabrina Berry because I've had both you and her on my show. And I also have you featured in Raised by These Wolves, #1. And you're also unupdated in this book, Raised by These Wolves, Child Trafficking Within the Foster Care and Court Systems. There's something wrong here with the judiciary. And I think people know that, but they don't know what to do about it.
Well, see, Sabrina Berry and I had been having protests, and I mean, we've been involved in these protests and trying to get justice in Cabarrus County for about 4 years, I guess. And 2021, we had an ACLU person come to our protest. They literally had like snipers on the building, like watching us. He went in and he interviewed all the people, like the clerk of courts and all these people about their processes, because literally people that are pro se, they'll say stuff and they'll like not take your paperwork or not file things. They'll literally act like you cannot have service if you don't have a lawyer, stuff like that. You don't have to have a lawyer unless they do what they did to me and gave me a gatekeeper order making me have to have a lawyer, which is not even legal.
No.
And I had an open Supreme Court case when they gave me that order in retaliation. And you can only get a gatekeeper order if you're not mentally able to take care of your own affairs. So you have to be deemed incompetent. Do it yourself, correct? So you get a gatekeeper order only if you're incompetent. But so illegally obtaining a gatekeeper order, but then saying I can pay $2,800 a month to my first ex-husband, $70,000 to the second ex-husband that beat me up, went to jail for 6 months, has 2 convictions of criminal assault on a female, even like choked me out on stand. Like, I mean, he told the judge about choking me out on the stand and how he was going to kill me. That same judge, Nathaniel Knutz, that he threatened to kill me on the stand in his orange jumpsuit. The same judge gave me an order to pay him $70,000 equitable distribution. This guy has supervised visitation of my kids, doesn't pay child support, but between him and his lawyer, I had to pay out $100,000 between lawyer fees and equitable distribution thing. And you know that Jay White still, even though the FBI has been investigating him, even though he's getting all this trouble, so the district court twice has said they have to use a retirement account as part of that money. It's to pay him, right? It's like a $30,000. The district court has ordered it twice. And the Superior Court, not the Supreme Court, but the Superior Court has ordered it again once when Goldberg was on the case, that they had to use my $30,000 retirement as that front up check to pay my ex-husband, and he had to sign over this car, and then I was supposed to pay a minimum of $800 a month until I paid off this $70,000. So I've never not paid, like I'm still, you can't keep taking me to court that I haven't paid $70,000 when I had like a really long time to pay it. If it's supposed to be divided up to $800 a month, like I've overpaid it and paid it off way before I had to.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, Jay White still refuses, and he's written. It's a written on the paperwork, even back from February, that he had to write the order for the retirement account to go to my ex-husband. He refuses to write the order. He refuses to write the order because he wants cash money. He doesn't care that the judge ordered it now 3 times since 2021. So when we go back to court in like 30 days or whatever, he's still holding me in contempt that I haven't paid this money, but he hasn't made the orders or he has all the paperwork for this $30,000. He hasn't made the orders to finish off the payment.
This is just, see, people need to learn and hear this. And this is a warning to everyone. If you go back asking for child support, this is the MO.
Yeah, I mean, and I tried to give Sabrina that advice Like, do not ever ask for child support. Do not ever ask like CPS or DSS to help you for anything. Like, she didn't believe me. She did not believe me.
Mm.
And nobody does until it happens to them.
Right. Right. Very
And
true.
I mean, like the mental torment that happens from having to sit in jail for 12 days
Oh,
because you didn't follow an order that has never been followed for 5 years. It has not been followed for 5 years because he did not want his kid. Now he's remarried and has a child with her, and all of a sudden this is Sabrina Berry's story
mhm.
about all this because he doesn't want to have to pay child support.
Does he
The
work?
same, yeah, he's a truck driver.
Oh, that's
And
true. You just said it.
apparently that the woman that he's with has money because he, I guess, lives in like not even his house anymore, has a nice house. He drove up just like my ex-husband in $100,000 red truck. You know, right after I started paying him child support $2,800 a month, he bought himself $100,000 truck. They all do the same
They
thing.
all do it. Yes.
And
Yes.
my
Happened to me.
ex-husband gets that much money a month, but won't pay for my kids' haircuts, won't pay for their shoes.
Oh, yes. My kids even said that, they were picked on because their clothing, I mean, it was dumpy. I can't remember my kids' exact wording, but yeah, they don't want these kids. They just want to hurt the other parent. And the
Right,
judges need to know this. And
right.
this is why a lot of people want family court abolished because it's not being run right. It's mishandled. It's not really even a court. Come on.
Well, Jay White is pulled off of child support now. He didn't come into the courtroom, but we went to court. So me and Yolanda both went to court in Cabarrus County, and what we went to court over and what our order says are two total different things. My two kids that dropped off child support, they finally dropped off after 9 times going and keep continuing. In the court stand, they said it was going to drop to $1,400 a month from $2,800, but guess what I got in the mail?
Oh, the same.
$2,000 a month.
Oh,
And they're like, "Oh, we did the math wrong."
uh-huh. Sure they did. I'm so glad we had this conversation. Um, is
So
there
I
any?
just want to bring awareness to
Yes.
Free Sabrina Berry, to email Judge Henderson, Gary Henderson, Gary Henderson of Cabarrus County, Mecklenburg. I mean, not Cabarrus County, Mecklenburg County of North Carolina, to free Sabrina Berry and to end this nonsense in court on Tuesday. Free her, give her child back, and put him in jail for his contempt because this is ridiculous. And
Right.
give some kind of order like that Judge Kohler finally did to me, where this has got to stop. He's
It has.
like, my ex-husband's not even allowed to call DSS. He's not even allowed to get an ex parte order or any of that in Mecklenburg County. Okay, he's not allowed in Mecklenburg County as a court order, but he just went to a different county and started
Yeah.
doing the things.
See, and people need to know this. We're here to educate, and I'm so glad. And how can people reach you if they have any questions?
Let's just do it through you like we did before, because
Gotcha.
I'm really bad about email.
Okay.
Because I don't. Most people call me. They're calling me now.
Well,
Call me or text me. For so you can just give them my information
mhm.
once. Once if they need to contact me.
No problem. No problem. You're so busy because you're working so many jobs to
Yeah.
pay this money to
To
these
pay all this money.
orphanages.
Yeah. Spayed over $150,000 out
Parents
in the
beware.
last like year and a half, two
Parents.
years, and constantly be taken to court to, if you don't pay, you're going to jail.
I don't know how you're doing it. But hey, don't jump off, okay? Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I am your host, Marianne Petrie, and you can find me on Spotify, YouTube, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, other platforms I don't know about. And feel free to buy me a coffee, which is in the podcast notes, to help keep this podcast going. I totally thank you. And I'm so glad, Amy, I will have you back on again.
Thank you.